All right. Well, hello, everyone. It is me. There I am. Let's see if we can do this. Okay, here we go. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Parent to Parent. Do I have a white hair? What is happening? I might need some of the advice from Dr. Higgins, who we are going to be talking to in just a few moments. So, Dr. Higgins is one of the top doctors here in Houston, cardiologist, tons of experience, been on our air several times, and he's able to tell us about something that really affects all of us, our heart health. And when it comes to the holidays, I just thought this was so appropriate because, we're all guilty of it where we are either drinking too much and too often, sugary foods. I mean, it's so hard not to. Sometimes even my husband is like, well, it's kind of like cheat month and a half. It starts on Thanksgiving. And I'm like, no. You have to keep working out. You need to keep drinking the water. Even little things like taking medicine. I know people get forgetful about that just because, well, it's the holidays. So, and statistically, which is kind of crazy, a lot of heart attacks and heart problems happen during the holiday months because of that. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to bring in Dr. Higgins. Here he is. Welcome.
Hi, Rashi, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays, and thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure. This is statistically like what happens during the holidays. Why do you think it keeps happening over and over again during this time?
Well, Rashi, I think it's a combination of outside stress. So, everyone is kind of like running around, freaking out. I mean, visitors are coming in, you got to pick them up. You got to organize parties. You got to get the house extra clean. Oftentimes there's extra visitors, staying with you, or you might be traveling. So that's stressful itself these days. So there's a lot of stress going on, and a lot of people, because of that, they're not sleeping properly. They may not be sleeping in their, own house or bed. So, the sleep is not that great, and that adds to the stress. And then on top of that, so you got the outside stress, and then the stress of what you're putting into your body, Rashi. So whether it be overindulging a little bit too much in beverages, as well as overindulging in the sweet stuff, the candies, the sweet cakes, as well as the salty food, or some of the appetizers, and also some of the dinners that are actually pretty packed with salt, especially if you're doing more. A lot of people eat out more, or they're eating, because they're traveling, they're eating kind of more junk food. So I think it's the combination of the stress coming into your body, but also the stress on the outside. And because of that, that can lead to stress showing up in the cardiovascular system.
So I also want to make note that, like, just acknowledging the fact that eating healthy takes work. Like I made some stuff for our Thanksgiving, and it was so much easier and cheaper to make some of the, junk food items like the sweet potato casserole with extra marshmallows and the butter and all of this. And here I am, normally trying to use like the organic stuff with like, using different salt or different, so when you're conscious about what you are eating and putting in your body and mindful eating, that takes a lot of work. So sometimes people have this misconception that it just kind of comes easy, but I would say, and I know you work hard too on your body, because it takes extra effort to go work out. I mean, there's so many days, actually most days, that I'm like, I don't want to do this, and you do it, and the afterwards you feel good. So it's kind of like an investment in your body. Do you have to explain that a lot to a lot of patients?
Yes, Rush, that's a really good point. I think people sort of are used to like all or none type thing with the holidays. So when the holidays come, a lot of people just completely stop exercise altogether. Well, like you said, Rashi, it's really important. Now, I understand, because people are traveling and, people are got family in town. You may not be able to do your usual thing, like, go for your hour run or go to the gym, because that would be kind of rude.
Right.
Especially, if you just say, okay, see you, family and friends, in a couple of hours.
Right.
But I think there are workarounds. Something just as simple as, taking a walk around the block with your family and friends, enjoying the Christmas decorations on the houses, having a game of touch football, in the front or the backyard, or just going window shopping at the mall, if it's really, really cold and you can't go outside, but just getting some type of exercise. It doesn't have to be your usual routine, but as long as you're doing something other than kind of just staying indoors and sitting down and just sort of gobbling and drinking, because I think it's really important. It breaks the day up a little bit, but also, you need a little bit of fresh air. And I think it also gives a good example to everyone that, we need to take things in moderation and it's fun for the whole family. I mean, even if you've got relatives in town, everyone can kind of do a little bit of something. But it's important to do that, Rashi. And also, like you said, to have those healthy choices available. So, if you have a bowl of, potato chips and M&Ms out on the table as snacks, then people are going to get into them. But if you have, a bowl of bananas and grapes and mandarins or almonds, some healthy nuts, that sort of thing out as snacks, as the kind of easy option, then I think more people are more likely to do that. It takes a little bit more organization, but you can do that. And like I said, Rashi, you can kind of have fun with some of the games around the house and outside with the kids. Oftentimes people who are coming to visit us they love to go to the local parks, whether they have kids or not, and just kind of see some different things and especially like I said, to do some of the nice Christmas, have a look around the neighborhood and look at some of the nice Christmas stuff.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I would say also, I know portion control is a huge thing that we talk about, but I mean, realistically, if I want a slice of pumpkin pie, I probably want 3 others. So I get upset that I'm not going to have more. So what I do is I just don't even bring that into the house. It's kind of like if you don't have it, then you can't indulge in it kind of thing. I mean, obviously, the special occasion, like the dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, that's different. But, I see myself not, and I think that's the biggest thing is not mindful eating. And I also talk about this, not just myself and about my grandfather's situation. He's 93 and he does mindful eating as well. And he makes sure he goes on his walk. Now there's other people in my family that are obese, and I would, I'm interested to know, I know you can tell people as a doctor's perspective, but when you're sitting and getting together with family who's not as healthy as they can be, how do you even approach that subject? Or do you maybe suggest let's all go on a walk and see how it feels? Or how do you encourage others to?
Well, I think those are all good things that you mentioned, Rashi. I think what we need to do is in many cases, just lead by example. You might have 10 people in your house, and 7 of them may be interested in going out, and you just go with them, and hopefully the others will eventually, maybe the next day they might come out once they hear about all the fun kind of people of having, but also making talking to them about the fact that it's really exercise is really, really important at this time of year. It can help you relax. It can lower your blood pressure. It can help you sleep better at night. So there's lots of, as well as kind of, it's fun. It makes you happy. So there's lots of things that you can, encourage them with, and certainly, trying to reduce those negative habits and focus on the positive things, and just making small comments like, wow, look, look how much energy you've got this afternoon. It must have been that nice little workout that you did this morning with us. And we also, very important, Rashi, I think, especially, in the evenings when people are, having some beverages, I have the rule 1 for 1. So every time they have a alcoholic drink, they have to have a glass of water. So that, because we know that hydration is really important. And if you get dehydrated, your energy levels go way down. And so I think that's really, really, really an important thing for people to to know that, keep up the water, keep hydrated in the morning and the evening. And sleep is really, really an important thing too, Rashi. I think people sometimes think, they can get by with less sleep on holidays, but actually you probably need more sleep because you're sort of using your brain, in different ways on the holidays. Then you can't just kind of plug into autopilot like you do at work. There's lots of people around, there's lots more communication. There's, other things going on. You have to maybe have appointments, you have to pick things up, organize things, get people to and from airports. So your mind is kind of working a lot harder during the day in general. So I think it's important that people realize they've got to have a good rest and recharge. And I'm all for the getting people to have maybe even a little nap, in the afternoon. A 15-minute nap can really recharge your energy, especially if you've had a busy day.
Yeah, definitely. So the 1-to-1, is that still with shots? Like you have one glass per shot? I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, you just
I took a tequila shot and a glass of water.
You got to do the best you can.
I know we're doing the
and
best.
That's also those, those eggnogs like they have on, the movie Family Vacation, on Christmas Vacation. You've got to definitely count those as well. But certainly they're probably a bit healthier. I mean,
right? I know.
But of course, the red wine is still, the best, and the champagne. They're the holiday healthy alternatives.
Okay, all right. What do you do to just keep on track? Because I'm sure you indulge as well in sugary foods and all of that. Is it more of portion control for you, or doctors are like these like gods to us, where it's like they do everything perfect, and how are we like them?
Well, I definitely, if we're going out to an event, Rashi, my wife and I always make sure we have like some fruit before we go out, and also when we do go out to an event, oftentimes there are some healthy choices at the event. So we try to get, it's like, okay, in order to get quote unquote the good stuff, we have to have some of the quote unquote, not so
boring
good
stuff.
Yeah, the more boring stuff. So we kind of like have to sort of jump through some hoops. And also, you're right, Rashi, in terms of the portion control. So just this Thanksgiving, we got a smaller pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving, and rather than the big 12-inch one that we normally get, we got kind of a smaller 8-inch, so that the pieces were smaller, and we made sure that when we had the pumpkin pie, we also had a little fruit bowl. So we had strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, and grapes, and that was kind of like in between the dinner and the pumpkin pie, so that you're not as kind of like ravenously hungry.
Right. Do you find, I mean, I know you're obviously not a dietitian, but I'll just get your opinion on this. So like you go to say Costco and you can get like a 20-inch pumpkin pie for $12 and it says like gluten-free, no preservatives added. But then, so people buy that, but then you look at the back and there's like all these ingredients that you can't even pronounce. I mean, what do you think about those type of desserts? Are they really healthy?
Probably, if they're mass produced, the answer is probably no, Rush.
Right. Yeah.
The bottom line is, when things are mass produced, they have to put certain things in them to keep them tasting okay over an extended period of time, because they are often made not locally. If something is made locally and it's organic, sometimes you can get those sort of things at farmers markets and places like that, and also some of the stores have the organic, whether it be Whole Foods or Kroger, HEB. They do have alternative things, but if you really, really, really want to do it the most healthy, probably it like you said before, Rashi, it does take a lot of work. Probably the way to do it is to actually make your own pumpkin pie, because that way you actually exactly what ingredients are going in, and that they're healthy, organic, and you also can kind of like limit the amount of sugar, salt, and other things that are going in, so you can maximize it. But if you can't do that, search out for I would search more for the kind of locally made and within the organic. Oftentimes they will have some of those options available, both with things like pies and things like that, as well as the fruits and vegetables which you can get. I think that's a reasonable thing to do when you are looking to be healthy. And yeah, my rule of thumb is, Rashi, if there's too many things on the label that I actually cannot pronounce, I'm always suspicious of that. And
Yes.
in fact, some of the healthier things, when my daughter does a little bit of cooking, I notice some of the really, really healthy recipes, they'll only have like 4, 5, or 6 total ingredients. The really, really, really kind of like more unhealthy things, I think, tend to have a lot of these ingredients that can, have effects on you, like whether it be things that are salt-based, so that's going to, potentially increase your blood pressure. Things that are more sugar-based, carbohydrate, which is also, going to put your sugar level up, and you might have the crash kind of when the sugar level goes down. So I think those are really, really important things to do. And there's, a lot of good books out there for organic cooking that you can look into.
Yeah, sometimes I just don't even tell my family what I did, and they like it. And I'm like, oh, well, did you know that you actually are eating cauliflower rice in that burrito? Like,
Right.
it's, yeah. And they're like, what is that? I mean, before they have this preconceived, what am I eating here? Like tofu is actually pretty good. I mean,
Yes.
it's just like little things like that. I did want to bring up real quick from the American Heart Association. I was able to pull this up. Just they have amazing resources with videos on how to lessen your stress. Some things that, we were talking about, Dr. Higgins, about finding a moment of relief from stress, to go get a green break. That's one of the things, which is going outside, starting a gratitude habit. Also the mindset. How important is the way you think in terms of not just your heart health, but overall health, your attitude?
Rashi, I believe they're, in my mind, they're equivalent. There's been studies that have shown that, in fact, mental stress and stress related to, how you are thinking about things actually can be, result in the equivalent effects, on your cardiovascular system. So, in fact, we will often see people that have had coming in with heart attacks, and, the stress they had is that there was some very big family stress that occurred to them. So, absolutely, I think those are important. And like you said, taking time out for your stress reducing activities, whether that be, writing in a gratitude journal, which I think is an excellent thing to do, or just even, like sometimes at dinner, we will each go around the table and say, one thing we were thankful for today. And just kind of, and also, talking about, how we are sort of thankful that for what we have compared to, what some of the other unfortunate people, some of whom are actually, spending the holidays in hospital, for example, have. So I think those are very, very important things, Rashi. And I think everyone, even from, my daughter is in grade 1, they even teach them about stress and like meditation and mindfulness. And I think it's really, really so important. And again, you can turn it into a kind of a fun kind of game, on the holidays with your family and friends, and get everyone sort of, whether it be, everyone has to say something nice about, the other person, or, and you can say something, one thing that you don't like and one thing you like, and you can have different, you can even have a drinking game, if
add the drink. There goes the drink and the water.
That's right. And so I think those are really, really important things. And whatever it takes for you, Rashi, to de-stress, some people find that I find when I go running, that really helps me. Some people find a nice, warm bath with no noise, everyone out of the house, they have the place to themselves. They find that is really, really stress relaxing. Other people do the deep muscle relaxation, where you kind of contract and relax different muscles in the body before bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it is, that's definitely, and you've got to be thinking positive about things. Like they sort of after a big celebration. One person may look at the sink and say, "Oh, look at all of these dishes we have to clean. Oh man!" And look at the
Mm-hmm.
table.
Mm-hmm.
And another person may look at the same thing and say, "Wow, I can't believe we got to do all of this stuff with our friends, and this is." This is a sign of a really, really good time that we had.
Right.
So
This is a sign of a great time. Yes. But you laugh at it too.
yeah.
It's funny. Yeah.
And speaking of which, delegate. I mean, on the holidays, I think sometimes, when people are hosting a whole lot of people in their house, they just feel like they have to be like, Superman and do everything, for
Right.
everyone. But honestly, look, normally, people will be more than happy to help you out. So like, people will help you, get the dishes from the table. So
Right.
don't be afraid to delegate. And I mean, people sort of, especially when they're staying at your house, they almost feel like obliged. Wow, I should be doing a bit more. So
Yeah.
don't feel bad about asking people to help out. I mean, they appreciate it's their way of giving back because you've been doing so much for them.
Right. No, that's such a good point because it's always been hard for me to ask for help, but then like after having kids, it's almost like you need everybody's help at that time because you're like, just help me, just watch him or her or whatever. I did want to say that I am just amazed at the power that the mind has. You know about this, but a few months ago my grandfather was in the hospital and in Texas Children's at the medical center, and the doctor who did his surgery was saying, and he's 93, 92, he had a pretty it was a higher risk procedure, but we're all freaking out, the family, and we're thinking this is like end all be all, and knock on wood, he did great, but he's like, I'm fine, I'm gonna be great. This is joking around and all that, and the surgeon even said his attitude is what got him through all of this. And I spent a lot of time at the hospital, and as you know, the cath lab, which I didn't realize how busy it is all the time with people coming in with the heart problems. And I just realized, and some of the nurses were like, yeah, some of it is because of stress. Some of it is because of this and that. And it's like, everybody has something going on and you don't realize how much it can affect your body. So it was a really eye-opening experience for me. And, since then, I know my attitude has changed a lot, and
oh yeah,
no, that's it's like different. I mean, I don't know the right words, but the terms, but the chemicals that are released when you're thinking negative and all of that. And
absolutely, no, you're exactly right, Rashi. They've actually shown both with functional MRI, which actually they scan people's heads when they're having different thoughts. They've shown that there are areas of the brain which are associated with stress and elevated blood pressure, heart attacks, strokes. Those are more active when you are thinking negatively about experiences, or when you are really, really getting yourself upset about something, and or you have a negative attitude. So that is so important, Rashi. Having a positive attitude is, very, very big thing for our patients too. In fact, oftentimes, if a patient is in a really, really bad attitude way, I know surgeons as well as colleagues that will not, they will postpone the procedure or the operation because they know that their outcome is going to be a lot worse with a person that goes into it who is in a really, really dark place or a bad attitude. So whereas the person that goes into it like, okay, I've got this, I'm going to get through this, and I'll come out and I'll be able to get home in a few days. Those people do so much better. So attitude, and especially at this time of the year, is a very important part of the puzzle, Rashi. So, both the mental and the physical are very, very, and they go together. One affects the other both ways. People in pain, that causes mental stress. Mental stress can actually cause physical pain.
Right. Like when someone says my heart is heavy, like your heart really is heavy. Like you have those, when you feel like, oh my God, I'm going 100 miles per hour. Like you really are, whatever chemicals are doing that. So it's
right. No, that's exactly right, Rashi. And in the holidays, I think the key take home is, I think, try to No matter how crazy things get, try to have a positive attitude. Try to do a little bit of exercise each day. Eat something healthy through the day. It may not be as much as you used to, but at least try to, check off a couple of healthy things. Hydrate well. Try to get a good night's sleep. And most importantly, have fun and be have gratitude for all of the wonderful times and the people and the fact that you're not like in hospital or
Right.
in Ukraine or wherever things are a lot worse than where we
Yes,
are.
definitely. Well, we have gone way over our time. It's always awesome to talk to you.
You
Thank
too,
you so
Rashi.
much for doing this, and I hope we do talk again, because I know that keeping our heart healthy is so important. I know this is a parent to parent segment for kids, for adults. This is all around. So thank you
Yep.
so much, Dr. Higgins.
You're welcome, Rashi. We're all in this together, and have a wonderful holidays to you and all of your listeners, and a heart healthy holidays.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us on this edition of Parent to Parent. If you have any comments, please list them below. So thank you to our Facebook followers, YouTube, and also on our website. And I will see you later.